Hello everyone, my name is David. Today we are going to explain a movie named Anjam Pathira, released in 2020. So sit with some popcorns, relax and enjoy this movie. At the beginning of the movie, we see a police officer named Abhimanyu Kaushik, who is returning home after partying in the middle of the night. Suddenly, he sees a truck ahead. As he gets closer, someone wearing a wolf mask appears in front of him, and out of fear, he turns back, and the scene cuts. In the next scene, we see ACP Anil and criminologist Anwar Hussain, who have come to investigate a dead body. The dead body is actually that of Abhimanyu Kaushik, who had encountered someone wearing a wolf mask the previous night. Anwar says, "The killer intentionally left this body out in the open so the police would find it easily. Actually, whatever this is, it is challenging us." On the other hand, according to the post-mortem, first, both eyes of this living body were removed to make it suffer. Then, its heart was taken out of its body while it was still alive, causing instant death. Sleeping pills were found in its blood, which doesn't lead to any specific conclusion. Now, the responsibility of leading this case has been given to DCP Catherine. A new team is set up, and the process of solving the mystery of that death begins. The investigation starts from the place where the kidnapping occurred. "Here," Anil says, "this is such a large colony, but there are no CCTV cameras anywhere." On the other hand, Anwar says, "The amazing thing is, why didn't the police officer shout during the kidnapping? Maybe someone in one of these houses would have heard his voice." To this, Anil says, "It's possible that he was given chloroform." Anwar responds, "But it takes 1 to 2 minutes for chloroform to take effect. During that time, he could have screamed. So, chloroform wasn't given." Now Anwar says that the killer must have done something during the kidnapping that didn't give Abhimanyu Kaushik any chance to scream or resist. Now, no one has any other lead to move the case forward. At midnight, Anwar is at home studying the killer's psychology. Then, at midnight, he calls ACP Anil and says that this is a psycho killer who is challenging us. If he isn't caught soon, many more deaths will follow. Anwar also says that the killer's target is only police officers, but Anil doesn't pay much attention to his words. In the next scene, we see a police officer named Manoj talking on the phone while patrolling at night. As he continues talking, he reaches a deserted road. Suddenly, the same truck appears in front of him, and as he gets closer, a man wearing a wolf mask appears. Out of fear, he turns back. The scene cuts here. His colleagues search for him extensively, but only find his phone. In fact, he too has now been kidnapped. Now, patrolling start all around so that they can quickly find that police officer, but he is nowhere to be found. The next day, outside the police station, a statue of justice shows up. On getting closer, Manor's dead body, which disappeared last night, is also found in the same condition, both eyes and heart removed. Now it confirms that there is a psycho killer roaming in the city whose target is only police officers. Here, Anwar is troubled by the fact that this is a psycho killer who always follows a pattern. According to him, if the statue of justice was found near Manoj's body, then why wasn't it found near Abhimanyu's body? So, Anwar checks Abhimanyu's case file again, and this time he finds the statue buried in the ground. A small part of it was sticking out. Now, upon examining the statue, it is evident that it is different from a normal statue of justice, because a normal statue always has a black blindfold over its eyes, which is missing here. Secondly, the face of a normal statue always resembles that of Greek people, whereas here the face looks like a local person's. This clearly indicates that someone had this statue custom-made. However, upon inspection, no mark or logo is found on the statue that could reveal who made these statues or who commissioned them. Because Manoj's dead body was found outside the police station, the CCTV footage is checked, but surprisingly, nothing is found in it either. Now, they realize that someone has hacked the CCTV and altered all the footage. So, Anwar brings in a hacker named Andrew. Here, Andrew tells them that whoever did this hack is very smart, because anyone who can change video footage can easily access all the police officers' phone numbers, details, chats, and everything. So, Everyone should be extra careful. On the other hand, now everyone starts searching for the person who made that statue. One night, a girl comes to the police station. She says that she needs to speak with the senior officer regarding the statue. So the constable goes inside to call the senior. By the time the senior comes out, the girl has already left. The next day, DCP Catherine calls a meeting of all the police officers in the city, where she forbids anyone from discussing the case over the phone or email. This is because everyone has already fallen victim to cyber attacks. 2 murders have already occurred in the city, and no leads have been found so far, leaving the remaining officers still at risk of death. Therefore, Catherine now decides that from now on, 2 police officers will patrol at night in pairs. During the patrolling, Catherine will have a police constable named Pandu with her. According to the plan, Pandu will follow Catherine at a short distance on a scooter so they can keep an eye on each other. Now all the police officers begin patrolling every corner of the city. Pandu also follows Catherine from a short distance when suddenly a van starts following her. Catherine realizes that a vehicle is following her. Meanwhile, Pandu also keeps an eye on the vehicle. The vehicle then stops in front of Catherine. It looks like this is finally the killer's vehicle. Just then, the car door opens, and it turns out to be some hooligan boys who mistook Catherine for an ordinary girl and came to harass her. Catherine angrily pulls out her gun and scares them away. Then Catherine turns around and sees, "What is this? The scooter is empty, and Pandu is missing." Catherine quickly realizes that Pandu has also disappeared like the other 2. The killer has probably kidnapped him too. This time, Catherine sees the man with the wolf mask in the camera on Pandu's scooter. Anwar says that he's intentionally showing himself on camera. He's still challenging us, but the mask is so common that it doesn't give us any clue about who the killer is. Now, after these back-to-back incidents, media pressure on the police increases. There's still no news about Pandu. Just then, a courier arrives at Anwar's house. Anwar's wife, Fatima, thinks that Anwar must have ordered a gift to surprise her. She opens it and finds Pandu's body in the same position, with both eyes and heart removed, along with a statue of Lady Justice. She panics. After a while, Anwar and the other police officers arrive there. This time, the police find fingerprints there, giving them hope that they might catch the killer. However, the fingerprints match those of a criminal named Samir Cocaine. What's surprising is that Samir is still in jail. The police go to meet Samir in jail, where they find out that Cocaine Samir had been released from jail 3 months ago. It seems he orchestrated all these murders. As a result, the police now begin searching every nook and cranny for Samir, eventually tracking his location. Now, Deputy Commissioner Catherine, Assistant Commissioner Anil, and the rest of the police arrive at Samir's house. But to their surprise, Samir had already been killed, and his dead body had been there for 3 to 4 days. This makes it clear that the killer had done all these things just to mislead the police. There was no connection of Cocaine Shamir from police murder at all. Meanwhile, the computer system of Killer Andrew hacks the police station again and plays a video of his first prey Abhimanyu's death on his screen, where the killer ruthlessly pulls out his eyes and heart. After a while talking to Andrew, Anwar places his coffee mug near that statue. At that moment, Anwar notices that a slight layer of the coffee's warm steam clears from the statue, revealing the initials SD written, which was the name of the sculptor. Now Anwar, DCP Catherine, and ACP Anil reach the sculptor. Here, the sculptor tells them that the killer had commissioned him to make 5 such statues, 3 of which have been used during the murders of 3 people, but still he has 2 statues left, meaning 2 murders are yet to happen. Now Catherine asks him to make a sketch of the killer, to which he says that after fulfilling the demand, the killer gave me a lot of money and took both my eyes so that I could never recognize him again. The sculptor also says that the girl who came to talk about these sculptures that day was my daughter Maithili. But as soon as we went there, we received threatening calls because they were keeping an eye on us too. So she left from there understanding the danger to her life without meeting the inspector. Now Deputy Commissioner Catherine also finds no clue here. Meanwhile, Andrew says, I have a plan. He says that every police officer who has been kidnapped so far, their smartphone was found dropped at the same kidnapping point. Therefore, I have developed an app. We will install it on the phones of all police officers, and if someone's phone falls down during a kidnapping, the sensor of that app will notify us and provide the address of that location. This might help us catch the kidnapper in the next kidnapping. Now, in the next scene, we see a police officer named Sharad who heads home to sleep after late-night patrolling. As soon as he enters the house, the power goes out. He picks up his mobile phone to turn on the flashlight. Just then, he sees the same masked man standing in front of him, which startles him like the others. But this time, the story doesn't end there. A scuffle ensues between them, revealing that there weren't just one, but two kidnappers. In a short while, they beat Officer Sharad unconscious and kidnap him in the same van. As soon as the police officer's phone drops, Andrew receives a notification on his system. By the time all the police officers arrive promptly, considerable time has already passed. The fourth police officer has also disappeared by now. During the house investigation, Anwar finds a fidget spinner, which could possibly belong to the killer. In the next scene, we see a metro station where a girl places an old man seated in a wheelchair inside the metro. From morning till evening, that old man remains seated in the same position inside the metro. Upon suspicion, a metro worker tries to lift him up. That's when we realize that it's actually Sharad's dead body, kidnapped the previous night. He was presented in the metro covered in clothes as if he were alive. Upon checking the CCTV footage, it is discovered that a girl had brought Sharad into the metro and left him there. According to forensic analysis, this death also followed the same pattern. By now, 4 police officers had died. Following this, Deputy Commissioner Catherine is removed from the case. Now, this case is assigned to police officer named Prakash. On the other hand, this time Anwar also receives BP medicine in addition to the sleeping pills in Sharad's post-mortem. As Sharad was a BP patient, now Anwar searches the internet about the sleeping pills that were found in the blood of those 4 policemen. There he discovers that this medicine is also used to hypnotize people. He immediately informs this to Commissioner Catherine. Now here we uncover the most shocking revelation of the movie. In reality, those policemen who were also murdered so far all turned around nervously upon seeing that masked man. Suddenly, there was another man standing there who immediately injected them with a sleep injection and hypnotized them, easily kidnapping them. However, in Sharad's case, since Sharad was on BP medication, the sleeping pills didn't immediately affect him. This led to a struggle between him and the kidnapper, and ultimately Sharad was also kidnapped. Upon this, Commissioner Catherine says that many people nowadays know hypnotic skills, so this information won't be particularly helpful to us. At that moment, Anwar remembers that during the investigation, he found a killer's fidget spinner at Officer Sharad's house, and he had seen a similar spinner online in the hands of a criminal in a case. The name of this criminal was Psycho Simon, who returned from the UK after studying computer science. Upon his return, Simon's father noticed that Simon would sit alone in his room day and night, watching live murders and many other horrifying things on the dark web through the computer, finding it quite enjoyable. Simon's father tried to explain to him, but he wouldn't listen to any of it. A few days later, the police find the dead bodies of his mom and dad in Simon's fridge, after which he is arrested. At the time of arrest, he had the same spinner in his hand, and a few years later, Simon dies in a jail fire. However, Anwar doesn't believe this. He thinks Psycho Simon, who he believes is still alive, is behind all this. Anwar tells Andrew that this is the girl from the metro, showing him a photo of Simon and saying that this is Simon and he has taken the girl's getup. Now Anwar tells this to the new leading officer Prakash, where Prakash says, "Anwar, you're a little late to the party. Psycho Simon died just 3 hours ago." There, we find out that Simon and his partner Arvind shot each other dead. A letter is also found there which said, "Dear police, we are ending this game of death here because winning repeatedly is no longer fun for us in this game. And this is where the 5th statue is located. Now this case is closed here." A few days later, Anwar receives a call from the same sculptor, where where he tells Anwar that the killer is still alive because he came here again yesterday and had another statue made, but this time my daughter Maithili saw him hiding. Now we finally see the sketch of the killer, which shocks Anwar because it turns out the sketch belongs to Dr. Benjamin Lewis, who is quite famous in the world of psychology. Now, to learn more about this matter, Anwar goes to Benjamin's village, where we discover their flashback story. In childhood, Benjamin was living a happy life with his sister Rebecca and father Lewis. Then one day, they find out Rebecca is pregnant. Upon questioning, she reveals it was done by Father Bennett of the local church. Father Bennett was quite influential there. Now Benjamin's father, Lewis, files a police complaint against Father Bennett, where the in-charge was ACP Anil and Sub-Inspector Sharad. But both of them, having taken money from Father Bennett, instead beat up Lewis severely and coerce him into falsely admitting that he himself impregnated his daughter Rebecca. This accusation leads to Louis being jailed, where due to this infamy, Louis takes his own life. Therefore, Benjamin is now taking revenge on everyone, and his final revenge is pending with the last statue because ACP Anil is still alive. Now Anwar calls ACP Anil and tells him that I know everything about the sin you committed. ACP calls him to meet on the ground. When Anwar reaches the ground, it's quite late because by now ACP Anil has also been kidnapped. That's when Anwar sees a drone flying above the ground, which was shooting a couple's photo. Anwar sends all those photos to Andrew. At that moment, Andrew spots that same truck in those photos and determines the kidnapper's location. The location was actually an abandoned house outside the city. Now Anwar arrives here with 2 police officers, where Benjamin was about to kill Anil. Suddenly, Anwar catches Benjamin from behind, and a scuffle breaks out between them, with Benjamin starting to gain the upper hand over Anwar. At that moment, DCP Catherine strikes Benjamin on the back of his head with a stick, knocking him unconscious. Benjamin is finally arrested here, but he refuses to speak in any way because he doesn't want the media to find out about his sister or twist the story. He wants to personally end this matter on his own terms. On the other hand, Anil Anwar, tempted by the promotion, agrees to keep quiet. Now Anwar meets Benjamin and praises his master plan, where he also learns that on that day, Father Bennett was killed in the fire instead of Psycho Simon, who had impregnated Rebecca. In reality, Benjamin had orchestrated the whole game to get revenge on Sharad, Anil, and Father Bennett. Upon this, Anwar says, "But your revenge remains incomplete because Anil is still alive." In the next scene, Benjamin is taken to court, but on the way, he is taken somewhere else instead of the court, where Benjamin is encountered by ACIP on Anil's orders. On the other hand, Anwar remembers Benjamin's sister Rebecca. He calls Anil to tell him about it, but Anil doesn't answer the phone. Anwar then heads to his house. Suddenly, he sees a girl coming from upstairs. In a hurry, he ignores her and goes to Anil's flat, where he finds Anil's dead body. At that moment, Anwar understands everything. He calls out to Rebecca from the window. "Rebecca!" The girl turns around, confirming that she was indeed Benjamin's sister Rebecca, who had finally taken her revenge. Anwar doesn't apprehend her and lets her go, and here our story comes to an end. If you like this explanation, please like it. If there are any issues, please comment and give feedback, and make sure to subscribe to this channel. See you next time with another amazing explanation. Until then, thank you very much.